Okay, so today we're going to work with word problems. You guys have this paper, so you need this paper. On the top of your page, you're going to write rounding, word problems. Okay, and today's date, today's October 1st. All right, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut these three rectangles out. So like this one, this one, this one. So you'll have three separate word problems. Go ahead and pause the video and do that. Okay, so you have these three word problems cut out. For right now, I just want you to put them to the side because I'm going to talk about how we do word problems in 5th grade. So in 5th grade, our word problems can be kind of complex. So what we do is we make a 4-square organizer, and it looks like this. It's about that long, and it goes all the way across your paper, red line to red line. The first box is important information. And I'm just going to put important info. And then the next box is a picture. And it's a picture to show your understanding of what is going on in the word problem. Then this box, you're going to solve it using numbers. And in this box, you're going to write a sentence answering the question, because that helps to make sure that you know if you answered the question or not. So we have our word problems. We're going to do this one first. So find this problem. Go ahead and lay it down on your notebook. Since I already made that organizer, I'm just going to use that one. So we're going to put the word problem on the bottom of it. Okay, so this is number 1. So this is number 1. All right. Now, with this word problem, I'm going to write some notes on here too so that I know what I'm doing. So it says round 328 thousandths and 4 and 391 thousandths to the nearest hundredth. Find the difference between the rounded decimals. Okay, so first, let me use a color. So stand back. I'm going to round these two numbers, this one and this one. And you guys are making notes like this too. And we're rounding it to the nearest hundredth. Then we need to find the difference between the rounded decimals. What operation does difference mean? Like if you're finding the difference between two numbers, are you adding, subtracting, multiplying, or dividing? You're subtracting. Okay, so I'm going to write that note on there. So important information. So I'm going to go back up to this. I need my two numbers. So I'm doing 328 thousandths and 4 and 391 thousandths. And I'm going to round to hundredth. And then I'm going to find the difference between them. And I'm just writing notes. So I don't have to put any, like I'm not writing sentences, so I don't need to put capital letters. So I'm going to put difference, question mark. Okay, so I'm going to draw my picture. So I'm going to take my two numbers, my number, I'm going to write rounded number minus rounded number. Now equals difference. Right now you might be like, that's silly. Why is Miss Dye making me do that? Well, it's going to make much more sense when we get into more complex word problems, so that this shows that you understand what's actually going on in the word problem, because they're really just stories and situations. Okay, so now I'm going to solve it. So I'm going to write my first number, and I'm going to round it to the nearest hundredth. My 2 is in the hundreds, so I'm going to circle my 8. My 8 tells me to raise the score because it's 5 or more. So I'm going to add 1 more to that 2. So here's my new decimal, or rounded decimal, I should say. Then the next one is 4 and 391 thousandths, and I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth. So my 1 is going to tell me what I need to do. So it's going to be 4 and 39 hundredths, because that 1 tells me to keep that 9 the same. So here's my 2 rounded decimals. They want me to subtract to find the difference between them. So if I'm just finding the difference and they're not telling me which number I'm subtracting from, what would make more sense? To subtract from this first number, 33 hundredths, or to subtract from 4 and 39 hundredths? You would subtract from 4 and 39 hundredths. So I'm going to stack my answer, or my numbers. So I'm going to rewrite them here. 4 and 39 hundredths minus, and you stack your numbers, line them up by place value or by decimal. Like you can put the decimal there, and then you know that your places will be lined up. So 9 minus 3 is 6. 3 minus 3 is 0. Bring down your decimal. 4 minus 0 is 4. So my question, find the difference between the rounded decimals. So now I need to write that in a sentence. The difference between the rounded decimals is 4 and 6 hundredths. Does that answer make sense? Yes, it does. So I'm going to write that sentence. The difference between the rounded decimals is 4 and 6 hundredths, period. Okay, so I wrote down my important information. I showed some representation of a picture that I understood what was going on in the word problem. I solved it. I wrote a sentence actually answering the question. So did I actually answer this problem? That makes sense. Yes. And this is how you show your work to do it. I am not going to accept anything different when we do word problems. So you might as well get used to doing it this way now. Okay. So my next one, I'm going to glue down this one here, but I don't have much room here. So I'm going to turn to the next page and glue it down. And I'm going to put my word problem first this time. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it down. And I'm going to move it a little bit higher up the page because I want to be able to have room underneath it. All right, then I'm going to do my 4-square organizer and make sure you give yourself enough room to write. Okay. Then I'm going to glue down my next one right underneath here, and then I'm going to draw my next 4-square organizer so that I'm ready to go. The 4-square organizer is not optional. It is what we do in 5th grade doing word problems. Okay. I'm going to draw my 4-square organizer. All right. So if I forget what to put in each box, I wrote it down over here. So make sure you go back to your notes. I want to see you underlining and boxing in, circling, whatever you need to do for your word problem. And I want to see you filling out these 4 squares. Okay, go ahead and then we'll go over the answers.